So
I just
I
want
can
to
wait
say,
with my question.
yeah, like I just want to say that like I was reading it maybe on Tuesday or something, and I finished like until the chapters that we were supposed to finish, and I thought, oh, I will continue reading on because it's just interesting because it is really interesting.
Yeah.
And then I woke up the next morning because I finished before I went to sleep, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna read it when we like make an appointment to read it because I cannot read it the whole time because it makes me feel very weird and very
Mm.
not comfortable
Yeah.
in life in general. Like
Yeah.
comfortable in the sense that I'm comparing my life and thinking, oh my god, our life is the best. But at the same time, just very so I cannot read too much of the book because it just sets me off.
But she almost does it too. Like Offred goes in and out of like, oh, before my life was
Yeah.
this, now
Yeah.
it's like weird. And it's interesting that she shows that tension instead of just being,
This is how we live now.
yeah, like brainwashed.
Yeah.
She's got both.
Yeah, she remembers who she used
And
to
she
be.
even does the butter
Yeah.
with the skin.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's fat, so maybe.
okay? But that was interesting.
Yeah,
I
but
was
I
like, what's she going to do with that?
But the thing is, I was reading about the butter and I realized that I mean, I'm doing the same thing now. I'm not going anywhere, and I sometimes like straighten my hair or
No.
Well, yeah.
my.
Look at
I
me.
mean, that's the thing you do
Yeah.
because you want to lose your like some part of your
Yeah,
normal.
exactly.
Well, yeah, my skincare got better in this
I know.
because I'm doing more steps in my routine. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but
You had
I
a
had
question.
a question. Yeah, because I don't understand one thing. Because she describes her life like what it was before, like when she had a husband and a daughter and everything. And then there's the part where she describes her and the other girls, Moira and so on, being in the center where they were like being prepared to go into like this life that they are now at. And they seem so young to me in that, like that they're like small girls. So where was that? Like, was that before that she had a husband?
No, 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 no. After, like, I think the whole chronology is that she had like the affair with her then to be husband, then she got married, then got a kid, then all the things on the TV started, like with Serena Joy having the announcements and so on, where she said, and then slowly the system changed, and then they went to the center at something because there's also the scene where she's running and being caught, so maybe that happened, and then she went to the center.
But
Just I
but Moira, I think Moira was her friend in childhood, as
Yeah,
I.
yeah, yeah.
in college before she
Yeah.
got
Oh
married,
yeah, in college.
and then she met her again at the center.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because somehow I had like the idea when I was reading about the center that they're like teenagers, but
Yeah.
I was like, how is it
No, no.
possible? Yeah, so
And like
I was just confused about it. So
I
okay,
think she even says that like when one of the aunts was talking, and then the aunt said girls, and she said she called us girls. Like she says it like that.
Yeah.
That's unusual because they're not girls. They're usually, like they're women and they've had lives before. But she says girls, and then she like says it. She calls us girls.
okay then. And yeah, and about the butter that we were speaking before, it was written something like that. I have a note on my phone. Just a moment. I was
Yeah,
making
I've got
notes.
notes. I made notes. I can't find where I put them.
Because like she just mentioned something that there was a decree of the wives that they're not allowed to have the hand lotion or face lotion or something, so that the wives like the wives want the handmaids to be like ugly or get old or something. So it's just so weird that there was actually some kind of a decree written by or signed by the wives. They're like a group
Yeah.
of wives who signed it, to make sure that the handmaids just don't stay young and pretty. That's just fucked up.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was like briefly mentioned, maybe not the same thing, but it was briefly mentioned in I think the last chapter we read uh, that time, previous time, that that Serena Joy said that she was talking about husband, and she said that husbands were one thing that they fought for. So maybe that's like a list of things the wives actually could, well, did ask for.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
to get the list of
You know,
things.
they're so bitter, you know, because they wouldn't care about the skin of others, but they're so bitter that this is happening to them that they have to ask for things like make their skin look worse.
I mean, I would
That
too.
actually look, and like it's interesting for me that like because remember last time when we talked about stuff, I said that I don't understand why Serena Joy, like why she said that when she found out that Serena Joy is her like wife,
Yeah.
like why was she upset? And then that's why, because she was the whole head of the movement, and so interesting for me that she was the head of the movement, and now because she was like a politician almost, she was like famous and she was doing the movements and giving speeches, and now she's a normal at home wife, like all of the other wives that sits and does her garden. So like even for her, it moved. It like she got what she wanted, but it was not like it was bad for her in the end.
Yeah. So it's actually pretty like that one bit about like how she would say she would always go and do these make these speeches and about being home, but she was never home because she did all the things. And I was like, this was the one moment where I felt this this is karma, you dumbass. This is
Bitch.
you deserve this. Stay at home now.
Yeah.
And also the part where did you finish or did I interrupt you? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. I'm done.
Yeah,
The,
you need
the part
to.
where
You maybe need to
yeah,
say over just when we.
yeah, over.
Oh,
Okay, so the part where she just they were watching the news, and she mentioned that it's not really clear if these are like real news or is it fake. Like the newspapers
yeah.
don't exist. The news probably are fake. So do you think it's only the what's the name of the land that they're living? Gilead? Gilead?
Yeah.
So do you think it's only in that part of the world that this is happening, or is it affect like did it affect the entire world?
I
Do,
think
do you,
it depends, but I think that mainly in their country, because their country is very totalitarian, or like whatever the word is,
Theocracy?
theoc-
Theocratic?
theocratic. So maybe in their country it's that order, but they're at war with some other countries or country or whatever who might be in a different world, like completely, and then that's maybe why they're at war. It's like, for example, like with North Korea, like in their country, it's like they don't have newspapers, they don't have anything, but they're at war with the rest of the world, but they don't know how the rest of the world is living.
why do you think they're at war with the rest of the world?
There's
What?
there's a lot of like passages where she says that like we're in the center and the edges are at war, and then you could hear bombers, I think, something, and then like you didn't read is
Or do you mean
Read.
why in the book are they at war? Like, what's the purpose of the war?
No,
did
I
you
just I did not get the idea that they are at war with
Yeah,
the
but that's the
other
thing.
countries.
but did you other guys, did you get the idea?
Yeah, well, not countries, but like
Some
sects of their religion or whatever it is. Like, we're
Yeah,
gonna kill the Baptists.
Yeah, and then it always says that
there
they're in
are
the center where it's
conflicts.
calm, and then says that the edges is not that way. Like, so I always imagine that they're in a country, so in the center it's calm because it's not like they're not being attacked, and at the edges that's where the war lines are, and so.
I feel like it's more. I do feel like the place where they are is more like a city, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe not. But anyways, the thing that there's actually a lack of information because Atwood creates a whole new world. Like it's like Handmaid's Tale has its own universe, and she kind of gives information about what the city or the country is like, but she really does not like describe that much. She doesn't describe the what is else in that world. What else is there? And I think for me, that's the lack of that description makes me. Um, I don't know. I just feel like you can always figure out something when you have context or contradiction of some sorts. And since you don't really have these things now, you just have the city. So that it's hard to
Well, yeah,
understand what is the state of the world or